from Adu Atoll in the beautiful Maldives. Welcome to the GCN show.
Welcome to the GCN show.
Coming up this week, what cyclists want versus what we're told we need. As a group, are we completely out of touch with reality?
We have also got another new world record, another bike from F1 circles, a new Cervelo e-bike, and how two people might be about to ruin gravel racing in 2024. This week in the world of cycling, we learnt that just when we thought brown shorts in pro races were a thing of the past, they've made a return.
So this is Tim Mollier coming in hot, very nearly colliding with a quad bike, and then having to sprint on foot to try to still claim the win at the prestigious Bredence sand race.
Thanks to Leramans cycling team for sharing that video with us. Bit of an epic, wasn't it really?
It was.
And here's the photo finish to show just how close the result really was at the end. Very close indeed. I also learned that Ford are the latest car brand to try and implement cyclist safety features. This time it's a sensor which tries to prevent dooring. A warning in the car basically alerts the occupants if a cyclist is approaching from behind.
Now, a lot of cyclists complaining that this isn't the answer, but I gotta say, I think it's an answer. Okay, I mean, dooring definitely is one of those things that I worry about when I'm out and about. There is a particularly lethal section of bike lane near my house, which is basically a car door opening lane. And so for that reason, I never, ever use it.
In complete agreement. I'm always worried about dooring. In fact, from the moment that my kids could ride a bike, one of the things I taught them was to ride past parked cars at least a door width away to prevent it happening.
Good tip, that. Now, this announcement from Ford, plus the responses from some cyclists, got us thinking about the difference between what the world thinks cyclists need versus what cyclists actually want. And it's something that we see all the time, isn't it? Like with cycling infrastructure, for example, which often seems like it's been designed by someone who hasn't ever ridden a bike.
No, we should design roads for car drives, shouldn't we? Well, we have driven a car, to be fair. Or there's bicycle-to-vehicle communication, which theoretically allows bikes to alert vehicles to their presence, but which in reality feels like it might make the roads less safe because drivers would then simply switch off, palming off responsibility from themselves and onto in-car technology, which they could blame.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ford are leading the charge here as well, along with several bike brands that are involved as well. I guess for them, it probably seems like a good thing to do, right? Making cyclists safer, in inverted commas. But I can't help but think it's misplaced, okay? Because do we really want to rely on electronics on our bikes in order to be safe? I mean, like, what happens if your phone battery dies? You'd feel like a sitting duck.
You would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And potentially, you would be as well.
Well,
you would just feel like one. Imagine if it got to the point where enough cyclists had this B2V system that effectively those that didn't have it became invisible to cars and to drivers. I mean, that feels like some kind of futuristic dystopia, doesn't it?
It does. Be a good cycling horror movie, that, wouldn't it? Can you imagine that? So you're out for a ride, your battery dies, and then for the whole rest of the ride on your way home, you're dodging cars and trucks that you're completely invisible to. It's like a cycling zombie film.
Cycling horror.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a niche genre, if I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah, fairly niche. Okay, all right, back to reality. Gotta say, I think much of the world is, like, rightly concerned for cyclist safety, and that's definitely a good thing. However, those same people, the non-cyclists, either don't want to or can't confront the reality that what actually it takes is driver education, increased consideration from drivers, and then a healthy dose of cycling infrastructure.
Yeah, instead, though, we get the wear high vis so that we can see you all the time, don't we? Wear a helmet so if you get run over, you might not die. I mean, it took me a while to understand the victim-blaming culture towards cyclists, but once you see how often stories are written and reported in the media where cyclist gets run over, wasn't wearing a helmet, as if somehow a helmet stops you getting hit in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, keep an eye out for that, okay? When you're reading stories in newspapers or online or whatever, you get a point for helmet, wasn't wearing a helmet, and then bonus points for any mention of high vis as well. It's safe to say that there is a bit of disconnect, isn't there, between need versus want here. But also, it occurred to us, we can't talk about this topic and not come clean, because us cyclists are our own worst enemies when it comes to what we want versus what we need. So before I was lucky enough to become a pro cyclist, I lost count of the amount of hours that I spent dreaming about bits of bike that I wanted / felt that I needed, or sunglasses, or I don't know, whatever it was at the time, when in reality, I didn't need them at all.
No. Well, actually, Alex made a great video for GCN Tech, didn't he, where he analysed the difference between a top-of-the-range Canyon Air Road and then a bottom-of-the-range Canyon Endurace, the bike you want effectively versus the bike you need. And while clearly there is a huge variation in the performance of those two bikes, how many people can actually say they need the expensive version, a top-of-the-range bike?
Yeah, what's the line? Something like, if you need to buy top-of-the-range kit, then you probably don't actually need it.
Yeah, that was it. I.e., if you're good enough for it to matter, you're probably going to be given the products for free as a sponsored rider.
That's right. What was the one bit of kit, Dan, that you needed? I mean, probably your Aero Cervelo, wasn't it, that I found out just the other day. It was actually basically as fast as a modern aero road bike, and your aero kit that went with it.
Yeah, I didn't even know that I needed that.
No, I didn't.
Turns out I did. I was glad to have it. Well, I think the one thing that I remember most vividly is the sudden need, or at least urge, to get a power meter back in 2003. But I didn't have much money in 2003, and power meters were very expensive in 2003.
Yeah.
However, I had been reading about all the benefits that you could have from training with a power meter, and I eventually did manage to get my hands on one. I think I've told this story before, €50 for a power tap from Trent Clasnet in a place called Cool in the USA. And you know what? I was right to want a power meter because it really did help me get another level in cycling.
So actually you kind of did need that.
Well, like you said, needs, we don't need anything really, do we? But of everything I could have wanted at that point, I think that was the thing that helped me most in my ambitions as a cyclist.
It's a tricky one, that, isn't it, to separate the two. Ironically, at that time, I actually did have access to SRM power meters. I know.
Pinnacle of power
yeah,
meters
when
at the
I was lucky enough to be on the British cycling team, but I had no idea how much benefit it could be to me. And, it's only with hindsight, I guess, that I now know what it was. Power meter, that was a need, but ironically, I didn't want it at the time, so I didn't know. And then I spent years after that really wanting one. And like you, they were flipping expensive when you're like at the very bottom end of the pro ranks.
Yeah.
You're pinching the pennies.
Well, what's a big thing that you wanted or needed? Needed?
Well, actually, the thing that I needed, I didn't want for a long time. That was overshoes. When I think back, I was only a little kid with the coldest toes on the planet. I remember coming back from rides in tears because my feet hurt so much. It took me 8 years to get a pair of overshoes because I didn't want them.
You'd think you'd
my
have
God, I needed them.
Good blood flow through to your toes, wouldn't you?
What, because my ankles are so big. Well, no, there's too large a surface area. I just lost all heat through my ankles. One thing that I often think about now, because I'm that cool, is whether or not I need a road bike, a gravel bike, and a mountain bike. Okay, so it makes me sound very spoiled, I know.
Yeah.
My conclusion is that yes, I do. Okay,
Right.
So sure, if, the proverbial hit the fan, I don't need them, but given how much I ride and how much I love riding bikes, I definitely think that I need.
Well, I'll give you that, Si, if you think that's the case. I mean, ultimately, I guess, that's what all this comes down to, doesn't it? You could argue that the only bike you need is one that has some kind of working pedals that power the rear wheel, brakes and steering. That's pretty much it, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that disregards how much
Wheels.
enjoyment...
You need wheels.
Handlebars, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so there's a few things, isn't there?
Yeah.
A few basics.
Some essentials.
But I guess that disregards how much enjoyment bikes can give you.
When they're
as
better.
cyclists.
Yeah, that's true, actually. There is nothing wrong with needing a certain level of equipment for you to enjoy your hobby. Because at the end of the day, for most people, it is a hobby. And therefore, none of it, say, is essential. I mean, you could, dare I say, take up running.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need a bike at all, do you, really? But,
A subscription pair of trainers to go really fast.
Yeah, well, that's a
In
good
previous
point, yeah.
shot.
For me, though, I need variety, with my bikes. I guess the issue, though, is when wanting something you can't have stops you from enjoying riding. That's probably the thing that we should say don't.
But to be fair, really cold, ice cold toes, they can prevent you enjoying bike riding, can't they?
Well, they absolutely did. Like I said, I remember crying. There we go. Not much makes me cry on the bike these days.
No.
Apart from like really long bike rides and having to listen to James Blunt.
Love is brilliant. Love is pure.
But other than that, that's pretty much it really. You cried into a headwind, didn't you?
I did, yes. Hence why I don't ride into headwinds anymore. I can't be doing with the crying. But let us know what you lot think at home. What can you not do without? What did you think you needed that actually you didn't? And what did you think you needed that actually you couldn't do without anymore?
You totally lost me there, mate. Hopefully you lot understood that.
Yeah, I think I lost myself.
And now it's time for cycling shorts.
Cycling shorts now. I'm going to start with the news that the world record for riding with no hands has been broken.
It has. And not by Hank.
No.
But don't worry, we have added this to his rather long bucket list, haven't we?
Yes, his bucket list of things that we want him to do.
Yeah. Rather than what he himself
yes,
wants to do. Anyway, step forward, Robert Murray of Canada, who rode 138.28 kilometres or 85.9 miles in 5 hours, 37 minutes. This is back in June, incidentally. It's just that we've only just stumbled across this now.
That's right. He couldn't do it now, of course, because he's Canadian, and in Canada right now it's minus 42,
Yes.
I believe. In completing the record over in Calgary, Murray was raising money for the Alzheimer's Society. You got to say, that's quite an achievement. That's quite a long way, isn't it?
No-handed, yeah. I think one of the limiting factors to riding no-handed for extended periods of time and kilometres must be when you need a wee, mustn't it?
Well,
I mean, you're a bit stuck then.
I'm not sure you have to do that bit no-handed.
Oh, true.
You just can't touch the handlebars.
Yeah.
Also, would you not wee your shorts to get a world record?
Well, I've done it to get not very good position in a race before, so I'd probably do it for a world record. But yeah, weeing no-handed, I think it would be tricky, but you don't need to do it, as you pointed out.
And messy.
It would be messy, yes.
And you might be quite numb, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, you would
Not
be.
being able
I
to get out
thought
of the
that.
saddle. But then you wouldn't be leaning forward either. So actually, I think you just have you have a sore bum, but I think you know.
Well, I think we might be overanalyzing this. We should probably just say congratulations again for this new world record.
Sorry.
It was set back in June.
I don't want to leave this actually. It would actually be easier to go for a wee while riding if you're no-handed, because then you've got both hands free.
Very true, yeah.
If you're a male,
Yeah.
if you're female, then it would be exceedingly tricky, I would have thought.
Well, I mean, I think we should move on.
Yeah, I think we probably should move on. Right, okay. Moving on.
What are we going to move on to?
Well, hot on the heels of the Aston Martin Laverick bike and the Lotus e-bike, another legendary name in the world of F1, Eddie Jordan,
No, Eddie Jordan.
for F1 fans, has also thrown his hat into the ring and launched a new e-bike.
Interesting. Is there any good marketing blurb?
Well, I'm quite glad you're
Sounds
asking.
old.
Because, yes, some of the best, actually.
Oh, good.
Okay. The Jordan e-bike embodies the pinnacle of electric bike performance, crafted with precision and powered by cutting-edge technology. It's designed for those who demand nothing but the best. It's super comfortable, and thanks to its stunning yellow Team Jordan branding, it looks every inch the F1 race car on wheels. What more could you ask for from an e-bike?
Wow. And is it the pinnacle?
Well, it's got 8-speed Shimano gears, mechanical disc brakes, but the pièce de résistance is a Wuxi truck run hub motor, which might be the pinnacle of hub motors, but I've not heard of one before.
Well, I think that makes £3,000 seem like great value, if I'm being perfectly honest. And actually, compared to Cervelo's first ever e-bike that was launched last week, the Rouvy range starts at £7,200, but goes up all the way to 11 grand.
Wowzers. I mean, it does look nice,
Does look nice,
doesn't
yeah.
it? Why they haven't tapped you up yet for I mean, you'd be like prime
advocate for Cervelo e-bikes.
Cervelo Test Team Mark II.
Yeah.
When
I mean, with my history with the brand Cervelo,
Yeah.
plus my lack of ability now on a bike,
Exactly.
a Cervelo e-bike,
It's literally like
yeah.
Cervelo. You missed a
Match made
trick
in
there.
heaven.
Where you taking your eye off the ball, haven't you?
Yeah, and Eddie Jordan, if you want to use size blurb read out,
Yeah, I'm available.
it's quite a large
for-
fee, but worth it.
I'm available for marketing website blurb. Anyway, while we're talking premium bikes here, there was a landmark moment for the US brand Envy last week because they announced that they will have a bike being raced in the World Tour next year, which is massive, isn't it? So they've long supplied wheels to teams over the years, most recently to Tadej Pogacar and his UAE Emirates team. But when Total Energy roll out on the Melee in 2024, it'll be the first time that an Envy frame will have been raced.
Yeah, Specialized being their previous sponsor, of course, who's
That's right.
gone along with Peter Sagan. Who knows, perhaps someone will choose to mog in the World Tour next year too.
That is a reference, for those that don't know, to Envy's gravel bike, for which their marketing team might have got a little bit carried away with that particular blurb. Haven't they?
Right, moving on, some good news from over here in the UK, which is particularly welcome. In a year that's been so bad in general for the cycling industry. So a Travel London report has shown that almost a quarter of Londoners are now riding bikes, which is up from 21% pre-pandemic. That basically means 1 in 4 there or thereabouts do at least one ride around London each year.
Amazing, isn't it? And the number of daily cycle journeys is also up quite significantly to 1.26 million. So that's a 6.3% rise in a year. And this has been helped, you've got to say, by the huge increase in dedicated bike lanes in the last 7 years, from 90 kilometres in 2016 to over 350 kilometres today.
And there's some similarly good news from Seattle as well, where a new protected two-way bike lane was installed a couple of years ago. They've been monitoring it over those 2 years, and there are now 53% more cycle journeys there each weekend, but significantly on weekdays, that is up 144%.
There you go. Cycling infrastructure works. It is hard to argue with that. And actually, I just want to pick up on a point. So, you know, last week when we were talking about the number of cycling fatalities and accidents in the UK is down, there are a few people in the comments saying, well, you can't say that without saying how many miles people have cycled. So actually, when you look at these two stats in tandem, more people cycling, only perhaps in London, but still, that's a lot of people.
And we'll have the Strava end of year stats soon as well, won't
we will indeed. So that does look like good news, doesn't it?
It does.
Right, on to some racing news now, because it seems as though Matej Mohoric might be about to ruin gravel racing.
Possibly with Caption Dome as well. Anyway, the newly crowned UCI World Men's Gravel Champion has just announced that he plans to race Unbound next year, which is widely regarded, isn't it, as the flagship event for gravel riders and gravel racers.
That's right, proper gravel riders see Unbound as a proper gravel race. Apart, not like those Mickey Mouse World Championships that take place on short and unchallenging courses.
No, nothing like that.
Yeah, although we should say that proper gravel riders moan about Unbound when it's too muddy, because that's not proper gravel.
Yeah, I remember that now, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, GCN website chief editor Dan Benson recently interviewed Mohoric at the Bahrain Victorious training camp over in Spain, where he told Dan that whilst Tour of Flanders, Paris-Roubaix and the Tour de France are his big objectives for 2024, that he will also be taking part in 3 to 5 gravel events during the year, including Unbound. Not just the 100-mile event, the proper 200-mile Unbound in Kansas.
That is a major coup for the race.
It is,
isn't it? An actual UCI World Champion will be on the start line in the famous rainbow bands.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's not a UCI race, is it? So, like, you know.
But he still gets to wear the rainbow band, surely.
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose they won't stop him.
Well, maybe he won't be allowed. Maybe the organisers and fellow competitors will say, well, you're not a proper world champion because this is the...
Good point, yeah.
Well,
maybe loads of other people will turn up on the start line rainbow bands because it's not a UCI event. Anyway, who knows? It's definitely a coup for fans of gravel too.
Yeah.
Because we will finally get the answer, won't we, as to whether Unbound is a different beast.
Yeah, particularly as, like I mentioned before, there is a chance you would have thought that the women's UCI World Gravel Champion, Caption Dome, will also be there. It takes place on June the 3rd, which is a quieter part of the women's calendar before the Giro and the Tour. So Nuvia Doma, of course, won the World Championships, but she also won Big Sugar by over 10 minutes a couple of months ago. But at 200 miles, Unbound is twice the length of Big Sugar.
Yeah, I tell you what, it is going to be really interesting to see how they get on, doesn't it? Fingers crossed that both do ride. It feels like it could be a bit of a judgment day.
Yeah.
Like, will pure gravel riders prevail, or will the power and strength of World Tour riders prove to be a level above?
Yes. Yes, it will, is my best guess.
As in, you think they will absolutely annihilate?
I think so, yeah.
Yes, I think they might. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, someone click this up, put a reminder in your phone, 1st of June next year. We may well have egg on our
they're going to
face.
get annihilated by the World Tour pros.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Anyway, some fairly disturbing news now that was published in an article on The Telegraph last week, in which it was alleged that Quang Li Industry, which is the Malaysian factory that Shimano uses to manufacture a lot of their components, has exploited migrant workers.
Yeah, so amongst the allegations, which are said to be from first-hand interviews with factory workers, are physical abuse, unlawful salary deductions, unpaid suspensions, and forced resignations.
Doesn't sound good, does it? Anyway, the factory itself has denied the allegations. We got in touch with Shimano, and you can read this on our website as well, but they sent out a statement in which they said that they are currently investigating the matter with the relevant parties and that they will use appropriate action to ensure that this situation is resolved.
Yeah, so you can find out more information on the Telegraph website, UK newspaper, or there's also an article on our own website.
Yeah, globalcyclingnetwork.com.
Yeah, but let's hope that this is resolved sooner rather than later if the accusations are indeed true.
Definitely. Right, let's finish Cycling Shorts now with an announcement of a brand new challenge. Now, some of you will have already seen this because there's an article about it on our website, as mentioned, globalcyclingnetwork.com. And some of you will have already seen Ollie completing this challenge in a video that was out just the weekend gone, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right, indeed. It was a bit of an epic, wasn't it?
It looked a bit of an epic.
Yeah,
yes.
So this challenge took Ollie Bridgewood just under 6 hours to ride up 3 of the biggest European climbs, the Stelvio, the Grossglockner and the Mont Ventoux, all in one ride on an indoor trainer, of course. So your challenge is to also ride all 3, but thankfully you can do it one climb at a time and in any order you want.
That's
You just got to tick them off, those 3 big uns.
Yeah, you don't have to do them all in one ride, just to reiterate. And you have until the 25th of February to conquer all 3. We're going to put a link in the description just below this video, which will give you more information. And there are some prizes up for grabs, a number of them in fact, including free subscriptions to Rouvy, and there's also a smart trainer up for grabs as well with this challenge.
You can get 50% off a Rouvy subscription for the first 3 months, by the way, using a special code that they have given us for GCN viewers, so GCN 50, but don't share that around because it's just for GCN viewers, isn't it?
Good luck.
Yeah.
Next up, it is time for hack/bodge of the week. But just before we get on to them, some information about how you can upload your hacks and bodges moving forward. You can still use the app up until the 19th of December, but after that, and even now actually, you can use our uploader, which we've dusted off, haven't we?
We have indeed.
Upload.globalcyclingnetwork.com is the link, and we'll paste that link in the description just below this video.
The trusty uploader. Never failed, did it? Just a request from us. Just put as much information in with it, whatever submission it is, whether it's Hack or Bodge or Bike Vault or whatever you want to send us, basically. Just put some context in there. Let your name, all that kind of jazz.
Yep.
Anyway, we look forward to continuing to get all of your hacks and bodges each and every week. And yeah, business as usual, I think.
It will be indeed. Well, business as it was in the past, which worked perfectly fine, doesn't it? Anyway, first up, B-Bike Centrics.
Basically like going from DI2, isn't it, back to mechanical shifting.
You realising that you didn't really need DI2.
Or rim brakes, yeah. Well, I mean, you don't need DI2, do you? You just need an uploader.
To get to the hacks and bodges.
Yep.
Okay. This is from B-Bike Centric, who put, my Smith helmet padding delaminated. The Velcro side, the black part in the first photo, started to delaminate from the wicking side and would not stick to the grabbing side in the helmet.
That's annoying now.
Yeah, it's really annoying actually, isn't it? I used a no-sew bonding material to re-laminate it. I've been using it for a few months and it's holding up well. I know I could have just bought a new padding set, but they were not in stock at the time. Bike industry short, I guess. And are still not in stock as I write this months later.
Well, there you go then. That's amazing. That's a hack, isn't it?
Well, I think it's a hack from me as well, yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
80% deeming that one to be a hack.
Helmet padding, that's one thing you need, I think. Otherwise, you've just got scratchy bits of
but
Velcro.
there is nothing worse than one that's delaminated and flapping about.
Oh,
like stick
man,
Velcro.
yeah. What a chopper with a flappy bit of helmet padding. Right, so we both said hack there, haven't we?
Yeah.
67% of you lot said hack. Why would 33% say bodge?
Oh, no, you've read the results out to the next one, Si. That
Oh,
was
have I?
80% versus 20%.
Oh, there we go. Well, that makes more sense, doesn't it? Right, next one. I wonder
hack.
what the results are going to be. GCN NL. Is that the Dutch version of GCN that we didn't know
sounds
about?
like it, doesn't
it?
it?
Yeah. Valve of swapped inner tube kept unscrewing when removing the pump. Ah.
Well, there's, again, nothing worse.
That's
worse
really
than the helmet
annoying.
thing.
Oh my God, yeah, so annoying. Fixed it by leaving the hose on, then taped it to a spoke and got home. Ah, I feel your pain.
Oh, it's the most... Because when you're out and about with any kind of pump that's not a track pump, it takes a long time to get your tyre up to pressure, doesn't it? So to then unscrew...
Says the frame pump aficionado over there.
No, it is.
I can't be doing with wasting 49 seconds at the side of the road with a mini pump.
Well, then factor in another 49 seconds because all the air's come out as you've taken the pump off the valve.
Yeah. No, that is awful. Very good roadside hack there. Do you know what I've got? I've got a dust cap, just one dust cap per bike now that's got one of those valve, like a valve screw thing on it, which is just like, it's great.
Yeah.
Just in case. So yeah.
I mean, this is a definite hack from me. I had this problem on the Maratona de las Dolomites a few years ago, and I was on the side of the road for a good 40 minutes.
It ruined your top 4,000 position, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It just made me angry. Anyway.
Why inner tubes need removable valve cores, I don't know. Like, you need them on a tubeless tyre, right, to get the sealing in.
Yeah, we asked this a while ago, didn't we? Anyway,
Yeah,
you know
good
the
point.
result, 67 versus 23 were the results.
66-34, I think, because otherwise it doesn't add up to 100.
No, I just said 67-33, and you've read out the next one again. I think I was right. I think I said 67-23.
You did, yeah.
Next one, which is 66-34, it's from Fitz Lyons. I came across a stupidly expensive chamois cream called Utterly Smooth, no free ads. So thought, why not just get actual udder cream? Works a treat and it's cheap as well.
No!
That sounds utterly ridiculous.
Oh, you can't. No, that can't be right.
Why not?
What? I don't know what. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know what cows' udders need in order to remain chafe-free. But
Something to soothe.
I just wouldn't want to put it on my own bum. Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, I'm not doing it for you.
No, I'm gonna say bodge.
Are you? Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to go with what I now know is the majority, which is 66% hack.
No, why would you say that's a hack? That's disgusting. Like, you know, there are cheap, like, chamois cream bodges, like, you know, good old
Butter.
Vaseline or Sudocrem. You say butter?
I don't know.
No, not butter either. No, Vaseline's
give
probably
this a
cheaper
go.
than butter these days.
If any of you out there, apart from Fitz Lyons, have ever tried udder cream instead of chamois cream, let us know in the comments below and how you got on with that.
One of my good friends, Ed, is a vet. He's a big animal vet. I'm gonna
Good lead story for next week. We get him on for an interview.
Yeah, I'm going to send him a message. Say what is in udder cream and is it safe for human arses? See what happens. Right. Anyway, apparently you saved the best for last.
Oh, well, we have saved the best for last. Yes, this one from Larry U. Instead of buying a chain keeper, I cut a piece of 1/2-inch PVC pipe. Works great.
There you go. You
Not
see,
a chain keeper for ages.
I know, and this is why chain keepers are rubbish because all you need is a bit of pipe.
I think what you'll find is simplistic but effective.
Yes. Although I do not think that you need a chain keeper of any sort.
Well, I think the results of this one speak for themselves.
You
right?
might want
You haven't
a chain
read them out
keeper.
yet, have you?
No, not for once.
No,
I've not read them out.
to read them out now.
89% hack.
89% hack. And I didn't even cast my vote.
That's ridiculous.
I think it says everything that you need to know, really. Anyway, as mentioned, you can still use the GCN app to upload your hacked old bodges for the next 7 days exactly.
Well, yeah, so it's going to be
Yeah,
shutting on GCN Tuesday next week, isn't it? So maybe we'll do some kind of best ever hacks and bodges from the app.
Good idea.
Like as a celebration of the app.
Mainly just be chain keepers.
It's time now for Caption Competition, that part of the show where you get a chance to get your hands on a coveted GCN Elite water bottle. All you got to do is put a witty caption in the comment section down below. Compliment Dan as well, whilst you're at it.
Don't forget that bit.
Yeah, and then Dan will pick a winner with the best Dan compliment next week, basically. But we'll start with the results first.
We will start this at some point soon. But anyway, this is the photo from last week from the Saitama Criterium. A few well-known faces in this photo, including Pogacar, Kuss, etc. And our winner is Jagru Tirathod. I don't know if I've got that correct. Caption competition. Everybody was kung fu cycling. P.S. Dan is my favourite GCN presenter.
There you
Caption competition.
go. Well done, Jagru Tirathod. Get in touch and your GCN Elite water bottle will be winging its way to you. Someone suggested in the comment section last week that this needed a white top to go with
like
the Guinness. Yeah, which would have been quite good actually. So
I don't think we've got one though, have we?
no, I don't think we do.
Not here anyway, from what I can see.
No. You can have a yellow top.
This week's photo comes in from the podium of the Val di Sole Men's Elite Cyclocross World Cup.
What are they doing?
I will get you started. Well, the crowds here in Italy are a little bit smaller than I was expecting them to be.
Yeah, that's good, that.
You might want to turn around, lads.
There you go. The three men taking a selfie on a podium. Facing the other way.
Niels van der Put on the left, winner Joris Nieuwenhuis in the middle, and can't remember the name of the person that came third, but it was his best ever result in a World Cup.
Mate, savage.
Bashir.
What a put down.
Joran Bashir, I think. Joran Bashir.
There you go. There's some good cyclocross this weekend, isn't there?
Yeah, well, it will be the final ever live race broadcast on GCN Plus.
Going out with a bang, Namur World Cup. Woo!
Yeah, and before that, on Saturday, there's an X2O at Erlen Towers, which is where Wout van Aert's from. But he's not racing because he's on a team training camp in Spain with Jumbo-Visma. But Mathieu van der Poel and Tom Pidcock make their season debuts there.
Is Van der Poel doing Namur as well?
No, just Pidcock.
Pidcock's doing Namur.
Apparently. He might change his mind, you never know.
It'll be
Fingers
a wet
crossed.
one as well, won't it? Blatantly.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's why. A bit too dangerous. for Van der
Namur
Poel.
is
Now he's
one of the
getting old.
absolute best. That's it, yeah. As you approach 30, things start seeming way more dangerous. Right, okay, anyway. I think we've digressed a little bit there. If you think you could put a witty caption to that photo that we gave you about half an hour ago now, then get involved in the comment section down below and we will pick a winner next week.
We will shortly let you know what's coming up on GCN over the next 7 days, and indeed give you an update on the weather situation over in Canada.
Yeah.
Before those comments though, a few from underneath last week's show. Starting with this one from Diez Rosales, who in answer to the question, can you actually lose weight through cycling, says you certainly can. I took the GCN January 2023 challenge and I cycle for 30 minutes every day. I enjoyed it so much that I continued doing it for the rest of the year, as well as cycling 3 or 4 hours over the weekend. By June, I'd lost 10 kilos, even though I hadn't set out to lose any weight, as I only wanted to improve my fitness. It just happened.
Wow, that's so cool. Well, we will be doing the 30 and 30 challenge again this January. So make sure you stay tuned. You can join us or join a GCN presenter on Zwift every day through January, or do whatever kind of exercise tickles your fancy, basically. But 30 minutes of exercise every day for 30 days. So yeah, that's super cool though that did that for you. You must have been flying after that amount of riding. Then we got Stephen Girimont. I lost 50 pounds since March of 2021 when I started cycling. The only change has been that I started cycling. I did not change my diet at all. So there we go, that's an interesting one. Britt Woodruff, while diet does play a part in weight loss, I can honestly say that my weight loss from 440 pounds to 198 pounds over a 2-year period, cycling definitely played a massive part in it. And then Philip Cooper said, not sure about my body weight, but my wallet certainly seems much lighter than it was before I got into road cycling.
That's going to be an old joke soon, isn't it, about your wallet getting lighter?
Well,
kids
yeah.
are like, surely you put your credit card back in after you've spent your money. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Well, I mean, who needs a wallet these days when you've got a phone?
Well, yes. Like I was saying to you earlier, wasn't I, off
know.
camera, that I keep losing my wallet because I have no need for it so often, and then I suddenly panic thinking, where is it when I do need it? Anyway, underneath... Oh no, we've got the weather update from Canada now. I've been looking forward to this.
We need some kind of like weathery jingle now.
Kukalak. As per size request, current weather in Victoria, BC, 11 degrees C. Balmy. Overcast with light winds.
Yeah, well, there you go. Austin Serson said it was a high of 14 degrees centigrade in Calgary. Winter is brutal up here in Canada. And then Dean Purcell, my heart goes out to you. It's currently 7 degrees Celsius in central Ontario, but I can't ride outside because of slushy roads. Poor old Dean doesn't want to get wet, cold feet. So it's just brutal in Canada when it's 7 degrees. That's right. Yeah, my heart bleeds. for you guys. It really does. Sound savage. You wait till you get wet cold.
Yeah, get some overshoes, like I said. Anyway, Dakota Trout. But hey everyone, I'm a fella with Globe Hauler Bike. Thanks for picking my bike. While I don't ride everywhere with bikes on the backs, I did cover the reason. I run a bike shop in my town and often bring my bikes when I'm switching out parts or need something for, etc. And I've tried to go mostly carless over the last few months, one commuting to work, and have a fantastic paved trail network here in Fort Collins. It's an answer to a question that we both posed in Hackle Bodge last week as to why you would need to transport a bike on the back of an e-bike.
Yeah, we had a few lazy mountain bikers also saying that, what do we know? You can't possibly ride a mountain bike to the trails because you'd ruin your tyres. So I think, guys, you probably need to, toughen up a little bit and actually pedal your mountain bicycles. Right then. Cycling in the rain sucks unless JKP Wacker said riding in Ireland, so learning to read the local rainfall radar has been a huge benefit. Don't trust the weather symbols, just look at the radar, look at the wind direction, and you're golden. There you go.
I bet that does work.
Yeah.
Rick Ski. I'm struggling with the names this week.
Well, that's a particularly tricky one.
My tip for riding in the rain is to wait for it to stop before riding and let the roads dry out as well.
Yeah, that's a great tip. You've been waiting for a few months now, haven't you, before you can get back on the bike again?
I've been waiting with much patience to return to cycling.
And then finally, a big shout out to Andrew Feather as well for taking part in the Can We Defeat the World's Best Climber with a Flat Road. Chris Holmes summed up very well. Hats off to Andrew. He was so not into this challenge, yet he did it anyway, and with a smile on his face. I'd argue that he wasn't smiling during the flat time trial, and he did try his absolute hardest because he is a ferocious competitor. But anyway, great fun in the end, and absolutely, hats off to Andrew. He's currently deep in Zwift Academy at the moment, so I can't wait to see how that one goes.
No. Well, coming up on the channel this week, on Wednesday, it is how to commute in winter. British weather. We didn't make the trip over to Canada, did we? For the nice weather.
Nope.
We've done it under some cold British weather.
I've done it for, people that... I think I might have referenced ice once in the video, but given that we know that riding in the snow and ice is far more pleasurable than riding in wet cold, I focused mainly on the brutal conditions of wet cold. So,
Awful.
On,
Thursday, we have a video that says, do you really need women's bikes? Obviously, neither Si nor I were presenting that particular video. And on Friday, as I mentioned, Andrew Feather is back in action on the Zwift Academy, along with our very own Killian Kelly.
That's right. On Saturday, does endurance really improve with age? Unfortunately, I qualified to present that one. So anyway, stay tuned for that. And then on Sunday, Hank is back in one of those crazy recumbents to see just how fast it will go. I believe Hank was sporting quite a lot of gravel rash after that shoot, so you'll find out how that one
pictures.
Went. Yeah, there you go. And
unfortunately, that's one thing ticked off his bucket list that we've given him, but two things have been added on this week.
That's a good point. I want to see him break the world record for riding no-handed.
Yeah, me too. I think you could do that.
I think if you lot would like to see that, could you perhaps get involved, give the video a like, and he responds well to peer pressure.
Yeah, social media pressure.
Yeah, basically.
It responds well equals caves in.
Yeah, we might need to do some reading up of the rules as well to find out whether or not he's allowed some kind of chest support where he can
there's
ride.
no hands, isn't it?
You're allowed to ride in a group? Because he could ride behind Connor, couldn't he?
Crikey, you might brake check him.
Well, yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Well, you could use Blake's wireless brakes because you've not got your hands in the
Well,
bars
could you? There you go. So many questions that need to be answered by Guinness World Records.
Right, that brings an end to this week's show. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next week.